Hello, I'm Jenny Lank from Bluesy Professional, and I'm joined here today by Philip Kolvin QC of Cornerstone Barristers. Philip will be sharing some of his thoughts on licensing in town centres and grassroots music venues. Philip, please do let us know your thoughts on this.
Well, I think the tectonic plates within town centres are shifting now. Retail is receding to some degree. Because of government policies and local development plan policies, there's a lot of housing moving in, often executive housing. They often move in because of the excitement that the town centre provides, but when they get there, they realise they don't like the noise and vibrancy of the town centre, and the consequence of that is that really important cultural phenomena, including grassroots music venues, clubs and pubs, are getting threatened, they're getting shut down, they're getting squeezed out. Sometimes they're getting bought out. Sometimes landlords are deciding the property is worth more as housing than it is as a grassroots music venue. And sometimes simply the licensing burdens which get put on these sorts of premises by way of noise insulation and door supervision are just too much for the premises to bear. So take London, for example. Over the last 9 years, 35% of grassroots music venues have been lost to London. And if there weren't such places, we'd never have got David Bowie, we'd never have got the Beatles or the Stones or the Kinks, and so much which is vibrant about our music scene would simply never have happened. And I think part of the problem here is there's not enough recognition in the planning system or the licensing system as to the positive benefits which licensing brings. Rather, quite a lot of our legislation is directed at mediating out the negative impacts. So when you actually balance things out, you don't get the positive cultural benefits being put into the balance. This has been recognised to some degree. Boris Johnson, before he stopped being the Mayor of London, set up a commission to look at this, and they reported on the plight of grassroots music venues. And this year, the House of Lords has set up a select committee to look at the Licensing Act, and I strongly suspect that one of the things they're going to be considering is whether the licensing objectives, which are all framed negatively about preventing crime and disorder, preventing public nuisance, should actually have a positive aspect, so that a licensing objective may be the preservation of premises of cultural value to the community. So it's a fast-moving area, and I think we will see some legislative change on this in the next year or two.
So you're hoping for some changes that will
Yes.
actually add into the nighttime economy and
Yes.
actually help these venues to stay vibrant?
Yes, and I'm doing a couple of things around this. I've just recently published a document called the manifesto for the nighttime economy. In fact, I can see just by complete coincidence you've got it displayed next to you, which has been quite widely circulated, in which I've tried to set out some of the principles for creating and maintaining a sustainable and diverse and welcoming and accessible nighttime economy. And I'm also, with a little support from the Home Office and industry partners, setting up a company called Nightworks, which is going to try to research in an objective and quite academic way the benefits of having a diverse nighttime economy, and then promote those benefits so they're understood by policymakers and regulators and town and city authorities.
This is clearly an area that you're very passionate about.
Yes.
But I understand, obviously, as head of chambers here, there's quite a few areas that you have influence in and you're interested in.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if that is one of the reasons why you decided to start publishing a new series of books, Cornerstone On.
Yes.
I just wondered if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I'm extremely excited by Cornerstone On, and it's a fast increasing family. The whole basis of the Cornerstone On series is that law books have tended to be written by lawyers for lawyers. And there's nothing a lawyer likes more than explaining in as many pages as the publishers will allow them all the ins and outs of particular cases and which judge said what. Whereas we try to flip it round. We like to get into the minds of our readership. And our readership can be lawyers, but it might not be a specialist lawyer, particularly if they're in local government. This is a world where they're losing resources, they're losing specialisms. So it's quite likely that our books are going to be written by generalist lawyers, They might be written by professional officers of the regulatory authority concerned, who might not have legal training. They might be read by counsellors. They might be read by busy high street solicitors. So what we're trying to do is to set out something which is a lot more than a manual, but a lot less than a legal tome. So somebody can pick it up, get to the answer, find the answer, and it's set out for them in a navigable way, and it doesn't assume that they've got some master's degree in the subject which they're having to pick up. So we're trying to make these things friendly and accessible and navigable for the non-specialist readership. So that's the ethos which underlies this series. And I mean, judging from who's buying them and the numbers they're going in, they're being well received.
Absolutely. I mean, some of the best feedback we've had is from people in local government themselves, even just tweeting about, how helpful someone's book has been in the series and how it's helped them that day in court or with a particular case.
Yes. I mean, sometimes you could read a legal principle from a case. You could understand the legal principle, but then how would it apply in this factual situation and that factual situation? So in all of these books, we've tried to set out, just imagine this happened, just imagine that happened. What would you do? How would you behave? Which court would you apply to? What would the form look like? What are the pitfalls? What might you get wrong? How should you get over the issues? So those are the sorts of things we're trying to do.
Yeah. It sounds like you're actually in the room with them, having a conversation, floating some ideas, and there's like a sense of real encouragement in actually how they can get through that particular task.
Yes, I mean, a lot of my colleagues are involved in this. I mean, I've only been marginally involved in one of these books behind us. But they're all people who deal day to day with practical situations in court, in conference. We do an awful lot of seminar work where we're hearing from local government officers and people in private practice that this or that is the issue and this awful situation arose and how should we have reacted. So we've picked up an awful lot of street smarts about what really the issues are. And so we've tried by sometimes imagined examples, but sometimes real examples, to set out the way through the question.
Well, Philip, thank you so much for your time today and for explaining all of that. We'll be here again with another short film talking about Philip's title, Cornerstone on Counsellor's Conduct, so please do join us for that.